America has glimpsed the abyss of spiraling violence, and in Milwaukee we found the usual canyons of deserted streets and police barricades. It's what always happens at a convention. But outside these safe zones, America is a nation where millions of citizens, including 20-year-old high school graduates, can carry weapons of war. All the police snipers in America can't protect against a population armed to the teeth. And yet here they would always much rather talk about healing after the crime than gun control before it. And that includes the president last night from the Oval Office.
Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back, take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured.
Yes, he missed out a word, even on autocue, but for now the conversation has changed from his frailties to this. This image is already iconic. It has captured the adrenaline rush of cheating death. It has shown Trump's instinct for grasping the television moment, from cowering in fear of his life to rising up in defiance. The fist bump will get a workout now. Even as he lumbered off his private plane last night, Trump paused to use it. And amongst the Florida delegates at the convention having their breakfast, the image changed the dress code and, of course, the message.
Everybody will forever remember exactly where they were when they heard that news. Elections are about contrast, you know, and there was already the big debate about President Biden and his weakness. That's now contrasted with the courageous strength of Donald J. Trump.
In written interviews today, Trump, the advocate of gun rights, who is now a victim of gun violence, has pledged to tone down his rhetoric and help the healing. But his calling card is strength, so let's see how long the healing lasts. Also at the breakfast today, Congressman Byron Donalds from Florida.
We have our disagreements politically. You and I have had disagreements on your show, but nobody wants that. Nobody wants
Donald Trump is calling for healing, as is Joe Biden.
Yes.
But do you think this nation can heal when there is so much bitterness and division around?
It's not easy, but it can be done, and what it requires is leadership from everybody. It requires leadership.
Both sides have used abrasive language, including Donald Trump. I mean, he's used some pretty aggressive language towards his opponents. Mm-hmm. Do you think he and others are in part to blame for the environment in which the shooter could act?
Well, I think in this particular instance, the real blame is when people will call him Hitler, like basically label your political opponents as one of literally the worst people in the history of the history of this planet is just wrong. I'll see you.
You're going to be his vice president?
Don't know. We'll see.
Trump is having a lucky few days. First, the bullet that only grazed him, and now the boxes of secret White House documents he allegedly hamstered away at Mar-a-Lago. Despite overwhelming evidence, that case has now been thrown out by a Florida judge appointed, yes, by Trump. He will let us know this afternoon who he'll pick as vice president. The events of Saturday once again show the importance of that role. But make no mistake, unlike the Democrats, this convention is all about one man, bloodied defier of norms and now death. Who knows where Trump will take America next, in victory or defeat?
Well, a few minutes ago we had the prayer, then we had the national anthem, now we've got the presentation of the colors. This is what always happens. This is the etiquette at these conventions, and of course it'll roll on all day long. Now we're expecting former President Trump to announce his pick for vice president any moment now this afternoon. There's been fervent speculation about who he might choose, with a few names considered the main candidates. Let's have a look at them. Top of the list is Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. He rose to prominence after writing Hillbilly Elegy, a bestseller, an ode to his working-class Midwestern family. Once a critic of Trump's, he's become a major ally of the former president. Then there's Marco Rubio, the Florida senator, who ran against Trump back in 2016 for the Republican ticket. Back then, he mocked Trump's small hands and became known as Little Marco in return. Governor Doug Burgum of North Dakota could be a more low-key selection, but he has overseen a near-total ban on abortion in his state, something that Republicans fear may be a weakness in the upcoming election. And tonight, betting markets have moved to make outside of Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin a serious contender. The private equity mogul won a shock victory in the swing state in 2021 in the midterms and could widen Trump's electoral chances. There we go, some more patriotic music there behind me. Familiar songs, all of them, especially to this crowd. As leaders from America's two political tribes call for political tension to calm down, the gunman's motives from Saturday remain a mystery. But this program can reveal new details about the gunman's father, who owned the weapon used by his son to shoot at Donald Trump. The Trump campaign itself had profiled him in a secret campaign database and identified him as a likely gun owner, a hunter, and strong Republican supporter. From Pennsylvania, here's our Washington correspondent, Siobhan Kennedy.
40 miles south of the rally where Donald Trump was targeted by a gunman in Pennsylvania lies the picturesque town of Bethel Park. And this is the quiet neighborhood that was home to Thomas Crooks, the 20-year-old would-be assassin. Nothing is known of Crooks's motivation for trying to kill the former president. Only, as this eyewitness photo shows,
they watched the gunman shimmy up the side of the building
that he lay on a roof 130 meters away and used his father's AR-15 style rifle to carry out the attack. We do know that he lived in this house and worked in a nursing home up the road.
Thomas Crooks.
This is him graduating from the local high school in 2022. He had no criminal record or history of mental illness. But like many of these solo American gunmen, Crooks is described by schoolmates as shy and something of a loner. But Channel 4 News can reveal that Thomas Crooks's father, the owner of the rifle that was used to shoot at Donald Trump, was held on a database and profiled by the former president's election campaign and identified by them as a strong Republican supporter, gun owner and hunter. The information was compiled as part of a secret Republican project to gather data on millions of gun owners across America and use it to target pro-gun messages in the run-up to the 2016 election. And here's why they did it. The city of Pittsburgh is a key battleground in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania, so voters here are always heavily profiled and targeted by political parties, like the Trump campaign in 2016, which held voters' details on a database, including, as we've discovered, the shooter's family, Matthew Crooks and his wife Mary, who lived here at 2506 Milford Drive in Bethel Park. We know they profiled them using secret computer models to identify likely gun owners and enthusiasts, and Mr. Crooks scored very highly, 0.99 out of 1 for being a gun owner and 0.95 out of 1 for being a hunter. In fact, out of more than 19,000 people in Bethel Park who were profiled, Mr. Crooks was in the top 20, and the database classified him as a strong GOP or Republican voter. The accuracy of their models isn't known, but there's an irony here. The database couldn't have predicted that Mr. Crooks's son would use his father's rifle to later shoot at Donald Trump. Around the corner, neighbors are disturbed by the news.
We live in a really kind of like friendly, safe neighborhood. So hearing this is a little jarring, especially with them saying they found explosives in his car. That being a block away is quite terrifying.
And this election was already pretty fraught. It was already on edge.
Yeah.
What's the impact, do you think, that this will have?
With this assassination attempt, I feel like it's going to swing everything in his way.
I think this is probably going to fire up a lot of people that support him, who were already pretty fired up.
You know, his head is turned. Pop, 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 pop.
Erin Autenreith saw the shooting in visceral detail from the front row of the rally.
I saw Donald Trump's blood. Not many people saw that.
A committed supporter, she's convinced this attack will have lasting consequences for America.
And Donald Trump down on the ground, shot in the ear. Many people at the rally said while we were leaving, Donald Trump won the election tonight.
She and others are now questioning how it is that multiple sets of security failed to prevent the attack.
Officer.
Take a look at this video. It appears to show members of the public alerting police to the man on the roof. You can hear Trump speaking in the background. We match that audio with Trump's speech, and it suggests police were made aware of the gunman around 1.5 minutes before the first shots were fired. That's now being investigated. But what is known for sure is the attempted assassination of Donald Trump will influence the upcoming election and American politics for years to come.
Well, we know that Joe Biden last night has launched what he called an independent review to investigate the shooting at Donald Trump's rally on Saturday. And today his Homeland Security Secretary has conceded that the shooting was, he called, a failure of security. He is due to appear at the White House press conference to give an update on the event in the next half an hour or so. And then there's this today from NBC News, which is citing two sources from inside the Secret Service saying that the rooftop where the gunman shot at Donald Trump had been identified by them as a potential vulnerability several days ahead of the rally. They had snipers on the roof. You know that they were warned that there was a man there with a rifle, and yet still the shooting incident occurred. As for the gunman, the FBI has also conceded today that it is still struggling to find a motive. They have gone through, they said, all his social media accounts looking for any threatening language or evidence of ideology, but so far they say they simply have not found a single thing.